Hey, what's up YouTube? Dan the Fix-It Man. Got another quick video here for you. I'm going to show you how to clean your mass airflow sensor and how to change your engine air filter on a 2007 Honda Accord. Now, it's important to keep the mass airflow sensor clean. The sensor on there will determine the amount of the air or the volume of air coming into the engine, and basically the computer will take that information and determine how much fuel to put in through each injector to the cylinders. If this is dirty or doesn't send the right signal to the computer, it can cause your car to run too lean or too rich. It can trigger a check engine light with a P0171 code. It can also cause it to be difficult to start or stall, or you might even have some hesitation upon acceleration. Now, the air filter change is just something that you want to do every 10 or 12,000 miles, and a lot of people recommend cleaning the mass airflow sensor every time you do change the air filter. So let's start with that. I'm just going to unclip this connection right here. Just push down on your thumb and take that out. There's just two screws that hold the mass airflow sensor in place. Just set those screws up in this little tray here so we don't lose them. And then we'll just pull the mass airflow sensor out. Now, you really don't want to touch this with your fingers. It's very sensitive, and you do need to use a special cleaner. This is mass airflow sensor cleaner. A lot of people will say, oh, you can use brake cleaner or carb cleaner on this, but those will leave some residue, and that's not good for this. Mostly this side here and the little internals. It says to let it dry for about 10 minutes before putting it back in. So that's why I did that first, so that can dry while we change the air filter. The top of this air cleaner, or this air box here, is held in place by these 4 screws. And they have like a Phillips head. You can also use an 8mm, and the 8mm would be less likely to strip. It looks like this one here has already been stripped out. So I'm gonna plan on just using an 8mm socket here on the end of this little ratchet here to take these out. One thing I did want to point out though is the clearance here is very tight, and so a lot of people will take off this top one and push it this direction and really muscle this with a lot of force, and a lot of times that will crack this boot. As these get old, they get very brittle, they just lose their elasticity, and you can end up with a crack on the top, the bottom. It's very common, I see it quite often, and that will also cause a check engine light. Now, this clamp doesn't look like it's the original, and neither does this boot. This is very soft and supple, so this was probably ripped previously, and they put a new clamp and a new boot on here. But just as a matter of just practice, I'm gonna just take this off so that I don't have to force it so much that direction in order to get this air box off. A lot of times these little plastic pieces break. The one down here is broken, but I'm just gonna pull that off too. And there's just a little clip. You can push it in on the top and in on the bottom. So I just use the screwdriver to push in from the bottom and then push down on the top piece, and then this little plastic clip will come off. Looks like it broke anyway. I didn't realize that it snapped, but it's like a little V that goes up and into here. The age of this car, it's just so brittle, very likely that those clips are going to break. Okay, and then I'm just gonna take off this clamp here. So you could use a flathead screwdriver. Also an 8mm looks like will fit on there. Again, I know that's a little bit more work than just unscrewing these and pushing it, but you're just much less likely to crack this boot. So we'll just pull this back. Again, you can see that that's not even the right clamp, but that's what's on there. That's how we got the car, so we'll just deal with that. Just like that, and it's out of the way. Now, I know that's still bending it and whatnot, but I think it's still a lot less than if you were to try to take the top of this off, push it that way, and then bend it up. So now I'm gonna use the 8mm and take off these 4 screws. Now, they don't come out, you just loosen them and they stay in that part. Now this will come out. See, now that comes out without a lot of force on this, and we can set that aside. All right, and here's the replacement filter I have. And this is GP564 from EP Auto. So we'll take out the old one. And you can see it's got a lot of debris in there. Before I put the new one in, I'm gonna vacuum out this area real quick. It looks like we've got some other junk and debris in there. The new one will only go in one direction. like that. Just pull the boot all the way on first. That looks good. And then we can tighten those screws. Put our clamp back on. Again, I know that's not the right clamp, but it's what was on here, so we'll just use that again. And just don't overdo it so you're not cracking that plastic or anything. And remember our little plastic clip here. And then the mass airflow sensor, again, careful not to touch any of this surface. And just bring it down here. We'll just go ahead and connect it. And put these screws back in. And just tighten those screws. Just barely snug is good. And you're done. I hope you liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't mind. That does help me out. I'll get a link in the description to that replacement air filter along with that mass airflow sensor cleaner as well. Thanks so much for watching and good luck.